Good evening, my fellow night owls.
Whatever. Anyway, hi! This is a night book review of Dimity and the Lost Prince by Nancy Atherton. Yes. I just finished this book like 2 seconds ago, basically. And literally, I finished this book in 3 days. Friday and Saturday, I read the shit out of it. I read... How much did I read? I read this much. This lovely big chunk here. I read that much in 2 days. And I read this little chunk, basically, yesterday and today. Well, yesterday I did 2 chapters, and today I did the other 2 chapters. So, basically, yeah. 3 days, but it was like 2 full days and like 2 chapters yesterday and today. And it was a lovely book. I loved it. It had the mystery of trying to find someone, and it was definitely a miscommunication somewhere. And it's just like right off the bat, it's like you don't know if it's this missing thing or person or whatever it is real or not. It's fascinating. And literally it took a week for this entire book, like the plot to go out, and freaking amazing. And then everything ties up in the end. It's like perfect.
I keep doing this because I lost my nails. This nail. Yeah, whatever.
It's just, I love it. It's great. And
did I say it before here?
yes, it does. There is stuff about Russian stuff in here, like the Russian Revolution, the Bolsheviks, how they immigrated from Russia over to like other parts of Europe, and I'm guessing, like the States and Canada around like the 1920s, roughly, when the Russian Revolution happened, obviously. There's some of that stuff in here, and those of you who do like Russia and like that sort of stuff, there is a little bit in here, not a whole lot, but you might find it interesting. It is all like fictitiously, I probably butchered that word, but whatever, fictitiously, again, made up, but it's great. And as I said, because of the miscommunication at the beginning, you go on this lovely wild tale, just going on and on and on and on. And it's fun, and you get to clear up things it's hard for me to describe and give a good review on these books, like Dimity books, because I love them so freaking much. Yes, I love them fucking much. I love it. And there's this one thread that you find in here, and it's like, ooh, and it's just like, I don't know how to describe it without totally ruining it, but you get this thread eventually through the book, and it makes you go, ooh, I need to find out more. Where does this thread continue and continue and continue, and where does it end? And like the ending of the book, oh my god, you will love the ending of the book. It is the most cute, funny little thing that happens in like the last 2 chapters. The last chapter is a epilogue. Do we have a prologue here? I think we do. No, there's no prologue, but not including the epilogue, but the chapters 23 and 24, they're the last 2. It's like the most cutest thing in the world that happens there, and you just love it. Especially Dimity fans, you will love it. I don't know, this is an actual real mystery that Lori and Bree are trying to figure out. I'm not ruining it because it happens in like the first 5 chapters at least, that Bree comes in on this little adventure with her. So, not ruining anything.
Yeah, it's just great.
And the epilogue, it explains stuff, it wraps things up, and I gotta say one thing. I'm not spoiling it. This is the last line of the last freaking chapter. It was never too late, it seemed, for a lost prince to find his lost princess. It's just sweet. It's just, once you read it, you will understand for those of you who haven't read it, will understand the meaning of it. For those of you who have read it, don't spoil it for those of you who haven't read it, but you will know. You just say, like, I know that line. Oh, that is a great line. Just you say that down below and just don't spoil anything down there. We don't want to spoil stuff for people who have not read these lovely books and this particularly lovely book. And those of you who have not read the Dimity series, please go read it. It is so sweet. It is so cozy. And especially if you like drinking tea and you literally just want to leave the world behind for like maybe like 2 hours or like 2 full chapters at least, which I find I read in like, because they are relatively longish chapters, they're not super long like traditional ones. They're a little bit long. I find I read them in like a half-hour sitting. So you could get relatively like 2 to 3 chapters done in a 2-hour sitting. These are good. And like, it says back here, where does it say? Cozy and charming as a cup of Earl Grey. Dimity and the Family Tree is a novel to be savored. It's a different book, but it's, as I said, it's part of the Dimity series. But again, cozy and charming as a cup of Earl Grey. Like, literally. All the reviews that are given with it, all these books, literally say, cozy, charming, sitting in a chair with a cup of tea, basically. But you don't have to drink tea. I don't drink tea. I don't particularly like tea, unless it's iced tea. That's the only tea I like. And it has to be from David's Tea. But anyway, yes, this lovely book was so much fun to read. I love the whole mystery and just trying to find out what the frick happened and what this little girl said, and again, that's not a spoiler or anything. It actually says right here in the synopsis, basically, of the book, that you find this story out from this little girl, and that's how the whole thing begins. So yes, please read this book. Please go ahead, tell me down below how much you loved it, how much you love these freaking series. It's great. It is freaking great, and I'm happy to have finished it, because now I get to read this one. It is a thicker one. Like, let's just attempt to compare. It's not a huge discrepancy, but I can't wait to freaking read this. Today I was attempting to read it, but I had only gotten so far as this first paragraph thing. But anyway, this is the next book I'm reading. It is Dimity and the Wishing Well by Nancy Atherton. This is a cute hardcover because you get yellow. When do you ever see yellow on the hardcover? Like, on a hardcover. Like, it's very rare to see that. Let's read some reviews back here.
Dimity slays the dragon. Let Nancy Atherton and Dimity remind you of the reason you got hooked on books in the first place. I promise you will be scouring bookstores for more of the series after you've given it a taste. CrimeCritics.com.
Like, that's me. That was me. I had read Dimity and the Next of Kin, and I really liked it, and I read that, like, forever ago. And then I was like, I want to read it. I want to read this book again. I remember reading this book, and I kind of want to read it again. And it took me forever to find out it was Nancy Atherton who wrote it. And then I was like, this is part of a series. Let's go back to the beginning of it. I read Dimity's Death. I'm hooked on it. Like, I read a book in the middle of the series. Sorry, I'm out of frame. Then I read the first book of the series, and it's like, right there. But anyway, let's read this. Let me read it to you, and not just like, I'm going to start reading this because I want to save that for a time when I'm not, like, hanging out with my boyfriend, like I was today. And up to about midnight-ish. It's 12:57 right now. a.m. Yeah, okay. Let's get reading. In the close-knit village of Finch, everyone knows everything about their neighbors, with one exception, the late and sadly unlamented Hector Huggins. Though little is known about the reclusive Mr. Huggins, Laurie Shepherd and the rest of the villagers dutifully turn out for his funeral. Their kindness is rewarded when Mr. Huggins' long-lost nephew, dashing and young Australian Jack McBride, dashing and handsome. Maybe it's going to be a love interest for Bree. Maybe. I don't know. But it's happened like 3 times in this series. Like, a new person comes into the series, and like sometimes it takes a little while for it to happen, but you know, characters that are in this that apparently she loves herself end up getting together. Laurie's first babysitter, or nanny, as I should say, of the twin boys, got together with this architect, and that was in book 4. Aunt Dimity digs in, that's what it is. And then Emma's stepdaughter and their new stable hand. I can't remember his name, but he's from a long rich family, like English family. He has gray hair. He's not that old that he has gray hair, but he's been like stressed out, so it turned gray, and it was really, really curly. And Emma's stepdaughter fell in love with him, but she was way too young, and he kept pushing her away, and all that stuff. Those two end up together. Sally Pine finds someone for a cruise that she went on. You don't go on the cruise with her, but when she comes back, this whole thing happens with her. Yeah. But anyway, that's arrives to pay his last respects and to wrap up his late uncle's affairs. As it turns out, Jack's sudden appearance isn't the only surprise in store for Finch. Woohoo! When Laurie volunteers to help Jack tame his uncle's overgrown garden, they discover a long-forgotten wishing well buried beneath a tangle of vines. As a joke, Laurie makes a wish that comes true. Word spreads, and soon the well is besieged by villagers hoping to avail themselves of its mysterious powers. They quickly discover that one person's wish can be another person's worst nightmare. As more and more wishes come true, the village is thrown into chaos, and Laurie is forced to find out what's going on before her beloved Finch falls apart. Is handsome Jack somehow tricking her neighbors, or are they fooling themselves? With Aunt Dimity's otherworldly help, Laurie sets out to prove that something other than magic is at work in old Mr. Huggins' garden, and discovers that the truth is even more astonishing than a magical wishing well. Well, this is going to be interesting, because, as you know, if you read Aunt Dimity, the only sort of magic that is in these books, really, is the fact that Aunt Dimity is a ghost that talks through a blue leather-bound book. Yeah. That's about, if I remember correctly, is about the only sort of magic that is in these books. And we don't have a prologue, we just have chapter 1. And we do have an epilogue here. I do remember. We have that, yep. Epilogue. And this actually has 25 chapters, not apparently, as I'm guessing, the usual amount of 24 chapters. And these chapters, I'm thinking, are a bit longer than the usual ones. I don't know. That was the end of this lovely book review. I'm just gonna start this book tomorrow. I'm not gonna start it tonight. I need to go to sleep. Tomorrow, I will put this in my bookshelf behind me. I will mark it off on my book list because it's just on paper. Putting it in there involves me taking all these books out and then putting it back in, and then it's gonna take long. And it's already 1:03 a.m. and I want to go to bed. So, please read these. I will give you a review of this relatively soon, maybe by the end of the week. I don't know. But please read these. Please read Aunt Dimity. Aunt Dimity is so freaking great. And Nancy Atherton only writes this series, so you don't have to worry about finding other types of books. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please leave a like. Click that like button down there. Click it a bunch of times if you multiply watch this video. Watch my weirdness and the fact that I have makeup on my eyes. And, as I said, leave comments down below. Let me know if you like the series. Just please do not be negative. Please do not be nasty. We do not need nasty comments. Nobody likes nasty comments. And if this is your first time watching my videos, please click that subscribe button for more book reviews, more hauls, more unboxing, unbaggings, Vlogmas, which I'm hoping to do again this year, and hopefully in the future, normal vlogs. So I'm going to go going to bed. I hope you had a wonderful time watching this video, and hope you have a wonderful time after watching this video. Goodbye, everyone.